There are 4 ways to turn on inline skates. The first one I would call the tall triangle. This seems to be what a lot of beginners do, and you should not do it. Not only does it clearly show that you're new to rollerblading, but it's also very dangerous. It is very prone to making you fall over and spinning you out, and you should just not learn this at all, completely skip it, move to the next one. And the next one is what I'm literally just going to call the turn. This involves being in a stagger position and turning on your edges. So there are 2 very important things to know to get this technique. The first one being the stance. Now the stance you want to be in is like everything in rollerblading. You want to have your knees bent, be a little bit lower than feels comfortable, be braced for forward impact, and have a slight forward lean. I want you to imagine that you're inside a box, like looking down, you see a box. You have 1 foot on each edge of the box. I want you to have 1 foot at the top corner and 1 foot at the back corner. Now the foot you have at the top is on the side that you want to turn towards. So if you're turning left, have your left foot forward. This stance here is the key to getting this turn. If you don't have the staggered stance here, it's going to be a lot harder to stay balanced on the turn. And if you have it the wrong way around for the way you're turning, you're going to be a lot more unstable, and you end up probably reverting to the tall triangle I was talking about earlier. The other very important thing to do is to look where you want to go. This is a major key, and it works not just for turning, it works for everything in rollerblading. If you're trying to hold a grind and make it to the end of the ledge, you just got to look to the end of the ledge, and 9 times out of 10, that's all it will take to get you there. Your head will guide your shoulders, which will guide your hips, which will guide your feet. That's why I highly encourage you to aim for something. Now be careful here, because if you do aim for like a tree or something, you probably might end up rolling straight into it. So maybe aim for a wall or something in the distance and still keep this at a pretty smooth, low speed. It is important that you lean into the turn as well. You don't just want to turn your feet and have them go away from under you. You want to go with your feet. So as you turn to the right, you want to lean with your feet to the right. You should eventually be able to see how that correlates and learn the balance there. Just like riding a bike, this stuff will become completely automatic in no time. If you're still struggling to get the turn, you can actually use your hands as a sight. So if you point them out in front of you and then turn them with your head to what you're aiming to turn at, that should really help you turn your whole body at once. Aim to do a 90-degree turn. Once you can do that both ways, try to do it without aiming. Ideally, you don't want to have to turn with your hands in front of you. Just look where you need to go. Once you can do that both ways without aiming, try do a snake run. Use your shoes or something as cones, keep them quite spaced apart, and then just snake through them. Do nice wide, slow turns. This is a great drill that you should take to every session, every warm-up you get, and that'll eventually help you learn to just turn automatically. The next turning technique is what I would call the tip tap. This is good for if you skate anti-rocker or freestyle, something with not a lot of wheels on an aggressive skate. And you need to do a tight but slow turn. Once again, you need to be low with your knees bent. In that box stance, you want to have the foot that you're turning towards in the front, just like the previous one. And all you do is you take your front foot's toe, tap it in, and then have your back foot follow to your heel. So you just kind of tap, 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 tap like that. And that way you should be able to turn a bit tighter than just doing the whole turn with your body, especially if you don't skate flat. To practice this, I'd recommend just putting your shoe down again, going nice and slow, and trying to turn around it both ways. You can also use this turn to get some speed. It's great if you need to quickly turn around and take off in the other direction. And the way you do this is you push through your toes. Every step you push with your toes, very similar to how a crossover works. What's a crossover, you ask? That's the final turn that you can do on rollerblades. Now this one's a little bit more advanced to the point where I've needed to do an entire video on it by itself. So you should watch that one after this one. Now this is when you literally step over your feet to turn. I would highly recommend mastering the previous turns I've mentioned before moving on to the crossover. But luckily I have you covered because I have been making a playlist taking you from the absolute basics of how to rollerblade to the more advanced stuff of doing grinds and stuff like that. So if that interests you, check it out. It's linked in the corner. The last 3 turns I've talked about all have a place in rollerblading. The tip tap is what you do at a slow speed for sharp turns. The turn is what you do at all speeds for gradual turns. And the crossover is what you do for fast, tight turns, or turns where you want to pick up speed as you go around. Once you master all of these, you can take on any turn. If you've gotten stuck somewhere or you have further questions, please leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If this video helped you at all, I'd really appreciate a sub. It's free and it lets me know to keep making these videos. And I want to quickly say a huge thank you to my patrons and members. I couldn't do this without them. Now, have fun skating and thank you for watching. Peace out.